The war now over, Fiat introduced a sporty little saloon, the 1100S. It was produced from 1947 to 1950 and was the direct descendant of the pre-war 508. The engine was much improved, 1089 cubic centimeters with a maximum 51 horsepower. It reached a top speed of 150 kilometers per hour, with an average consumption of 12.5 liters per 100 kilometers. It carried 2 people. It made its victorious debut in the Mille Miglia, the year after its production began, and came in second, third and fourth on the general leaderboard. The 500C hatchback, first produced in 1949 with a list price of 795,000 lire, had a style of bodywork inspired by American station wagons. It was made of metal, wood and masonite. It reached a top speed of 90 kilometers per hour, with an average consumption of 5.8 liters every 100 kilometers. It could carry 4 people plus 50 kilograms of luggage. Its mechanics were derived from the small 500C saloon. The 500C Belvedere, first produced in 1952, achieved the same performances as the 500C hatchback. Its bodywork was different, because it no longer had the masonite or wooden paneling, but it fundamentally had a metallic structure. The 8V, produced from 1952 to 1954 at a price of 2,850,000 lire, was presented at the Geneva Car Show in 1952. The 8V was a small 2-seater saloon with great aerodynamic characteristics and notable performances. The name 8V derived from its V-shaped 8-cylinder engine. It was the first Fiat produced with 4-wheel independent suspension, and it reached the top speed of 190 kilometers per hour, consumed 17 liters every 100 kilometers, and the engine had a capacity of 1,996 cubic centimeters. It carried 2 people. The 1900 Gran Luce saloon, produced from 1952 to 1954 and sold at a price of 1,750,000 lire, derived from the 1400 body structure. It was a higher class model and had the first example of automatic transmission adopted by Fiat. Namely, it had the hydraulic coupling between the engine and the clutch. It had 5 gears. It reached the top speed of 130 kilometers per hour, with an average fuel consumption of 11.5 liters every 100 kilometers. The engine had a capacity of 1,901 cubic centimeters. It carried 5 people plus 50 kilos of luggage. The Campagnola A and B Jeep was produced from 1955 to 1973 and sold at a price of 1,590,000 lire. A, the first version of the Campagnola, stood out above all thanks to its engine power, 63 horsepower with 4,000 revolutions a minute, and a capacity of 1,901 cubic centimeters. It reached the top speed of 116 kilometers per hour. On average, it consumed 12.1 liters every 100 kilometers, and it carried 6 people plus 60 kilos of luggage. In the same period, AR-55, the military version, was also produced. However, it was less powerful, 56 horsepower. The A version of the Campagnola was produced from 1955 to 1960 with a 43 horsepower diesel engine, and as of 1960 the B version with 47 horsepower, it could reach a top speed of 95 kilometers per hour. In all, by the end of 1973, 39,076 vehicles had been built, 7,783 of which were diesel. The 1200 Gran Luce convertible saloon was produced from 1957 to 1960 at a price varying between 1,250,000 and 1,375,000 lire. It made its debut at the Turin car show in 1957. This saloon was set to replace the now defunct TV saloon. The capacity was taken to over 1,200 cc, albeit deriving from the 103 series, and the roof of the body was modified. It reached the top speed of 140 km per hour, with an average fuel consumption of 8.5 liters every 100 kilometers, and could carry 4 people plus 50 kilos of luggage. The 600D Multipla, first produced in 1960, derived from the 600D Saloon. The mechanical parts featured greater engine capacity, 767 cc, and a different rear axle gear ratio with improved performances. The Multipla and Taxi versions, which adopted these mechanics, can be considered the forerunners of the present-day people carriers. A top speed of 110 km per hour, with an average consumption of 5.8 liters every 100 kilometers. The 1100 Special Saloon was first produced in 1960 together with the Export and Familiare. The 1100 Special had a more modern body and it was more distinct compared to the Export. It had an 1100 cc engine with 55 horsepower. Upon request, the Special could come with an automatic clutch. It reached a top speed of 130 km per hour, with an average consumption of 7.9 liters every 100 kilometers. It carried 4 people plus 50 kilos of luggage. The 2300S Coupe, produced from 1961 to 1968 at a price of 2,600,000 lire, made its debut at the Turin car show in 1960. Designed by Carrozzeria Ghia, it put a sports coupe prototype on the 2100 body. This vehicle was officially put on the Fiat's product list in the autumn the following year. It reached a top speed of over 190 km per hour, with an average fuel consumption of 16.7 liters every 100 kilometers. It carried 4 people plus 40 kilos of luggage and had a 2279 cc engine. The 850 Coupe, produced from 1965 to 1968 at a price of 950,000 lire, made its debut at the Geneva car show in 1965. The coupe version was designed by the Fiat Style Center. It reached the top speed of 135 km per hour, with an average consumption of 7 liters every 100 kilometers. It carried 2 people plus 40 kilos of luggage. The engine had a capacity of 843 cubic centimeters. The 124 convertible sports car, produced from 1966 to 1979 at the price of 1,550,000 lire, was presented at the Turin Car Show in 1966 for the first time in an open-top, that is, convertible model. The body structure was designed and produced by Pininfarina. It had an interesting engine. It was a four-cylinder 1438 cc engine with two overhead camshafts operated by a cogged belt. It had 5 gears. It reached the top speed of 170 km per hour with an average fuel consumption of 9.5 liters every 100 kilometers. It carried 2 + 2 people plus 40 kilos of luggage.